really wanted to do is to be grateful for the partnership that we have with Ivey, because they've got this amazing body of research that we're now taking in a large federal institution and we're infusing it throughout the whole organization very deliberately. So I wanted to be grateful and honor, but also show people that it can be done. I guess so maybe one message was, you need to activate character to infuse character. So we're trying to do that individually and institutionally in the CRA and leverage their great work. It's a fascinating file. In daily practices and institutional practices, there's a big thing in the CRA where we can leverage this not just for leadership, like purely for leadership in the traditional sense of the word, but the CRA is going through a large transformation exercise right now, and we've appointed a chief service officer, and we're looking at how we serve Canadians. We have a trusted, fair, people first agenda right now, and so now the character, which is really interesting, and I didn't get a chance actually to talk too much about this on the stage, but it's now providing the levers, it's providing the vocabulary, it's providing the language, it's providing the approach, really at an institutional level to look at our service agenda for how we interact with Canadians. So in that sense, it's just amazing. We anticipated some resistance, like with any change, and there's early adopters and there's resistors and that sort of thing, but we were very deliberate. The agency took its time, it experimented a little bit, then it created the position for the Director of Character Leadership, which is a one-off, one of a kind. I had the very fortunate, privileged position in my career to actually build a team. We're working with a CHRO who's awesome, and the Director General for Leadership, who was really the pioneer of all this before I joined the CRA. We deliberately took a position to look at who we need to influence, and we really made sure we understood the whole leader character model. We didn't want to rush to failure. So often that's what happens with new initiatives. I think in any industry people rush to failure, and we made it deliberate, we made it thoughtful, respecting the legitimacy and the credibility of the model. And then when we explain it to people, and it's why I say we educate and captivate at the same time, and it is captivating. It's a phenomenal approach to leadership. It's a complementary strategy. I think that's the other thing that's made it work quite well for us. We're not competing with the competency model. We're not competing with other HR practices. Everything that we're doing is complementing, whether it's performance management, talent management, or just leadership development in general. The character is just a complementary add-on to all of that. It also influences it because we say, or as Mary says, we're elevating character alongside competency. I even say you need the character to actually activate your competencies. All dimensions matter, as we say with the character approach, but transcendence to me is huge. I've worked in a lot of organizations that talk about breaking down silos. Transcendence is the key to do that. I mean, being optimistic, being purposeful, being creative. I think all the ingredients are in there, but it's not something that all of us practice in our everyday lives. And the same thing with temperance. I mean, we find that temperance is a bit of a gateway to the rest of the dimensions, and it's clearly in our research so far and our experimentation so far, temperance is usually the least developed dimension. Being calm, being prudent. Those two also really link to well-being. It's pretty clear from the research that in the busy, fast-paced life, especially where we're focused on drive, focused on achieving results, we see derailment, we see people suffering. And then the extension of that is maybe the people that work for them suffer, maybe their families suffer. And I think if you truly embody the leader character approach, and those transcendence and temperance dimensions that are often deficient with most leaders, you're actually going to live a better life. I'm really proud to be in the CRA and to be exposing and exploring. We've got a really solid partnership with Ivey. It's informal, but we're kind of becoming like brothers and sisters, and working this with Gerard and Mary. And I mean, the trait that we actually are activating within the character model is to be magnanimous and generous. That's what we want to do because we've been successful with it. We want to share the journey that we're on. It's going to be a few years before we can come back with a solid sort of measurement study that shows the impact, but I know that the impact is positive. It's just we want to be able to show that over time, so we're going to look at our measurement framework. But events like today, they're a chance for us. Showcase maybe is a bit of a cheesy word, but just a chance to expose what we're doing to all these business leaders. And what I think is really powerful, I mean, there's the organizational impact, but then there's the individual impact. And I'm sure that there's people who left that seminar today, that summit, who are probably going to go home and think about their own leader character, and that's going to start their journey. And that's the super powerful part of it.